everybody! I'm here today to talk to you about 7 tips for driving an off-road vehicle. In this video, I'll be going over 7 simple tips that are helpful for driving an off-road vehicle. And I should mention, these tips are if you are actually going off-roading in an off-road vehicle. I'm not talking about tips for driving an off-road vehicle on your main streets of your major city. I'm talking about off-roading. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Tip number 1 is check your fluids before you begin. Now, off-roading actually does a serious amount of oomph on your vehicle, basically. It actually puts a lot of stress on the engine and so forth. So you're going to want to make sure that your fluids are nice and topped up. Now, one of the worst things that you can do is go into an off-roading situation, drive for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and then all of a sudden you realize you're low on fluid and your engine is overheating, or you can't clean your windshield, or you know, you're low on wiper fluid, you can't clear your windshield, whatever the case is. So check your fluids before you go. Do yourself a favor, just give your fluids a quick once over, just look through them. It's as simple as that. It takes like less than a minute if you know what you're doing, okay? Tip number 2 for driving an off-road vehicle in an off-road situation is inspect the vehicle before you actually begin as well. So in addition to the fluids, you want to look at the vehicle itself, and especially probably the most important thing that you can inspect is the tires. You want to make sure that they are inflated or deflated to where you want them to be. Basically, some people like to deflate their tires a little bit before going into an off-roading situation. It gives you a little bit more traction, a little bit of a wider wheel base, a little bit more grip on the ground in certain situations. Others like to inflate them. Depends on what you want to do. But inspect the vehicle, walk around the vehicle once, do a 360 check, and take a look at the actual tires, see if they are where you need them to be. Tip number 3. Buckle up. I know that it's tempting to not put your seatbelt on because you're like, look, I'm driving slowly. Like usually when you're off-roading, you're driving pretty slowly. It gets a bit bumpy. You don't want to be, held down. You want to be able to look around and stuff. And I'll get to that later, why you shouldn't be looking around by yourself. But buckle up, because the last thing that you need is to hit your head against the roof of the car, or if you don't have a roof, to hit your head against the roll cage, or to hit your head against the windshield, or even against your own arm or something. Just buckle up. Just trust me. You want to be safe, because when you're bouncing around, it's easy for your head or your body to smash anything in the car. So put your seatbelt on. It takes a second, and I would say there's no exceptions to this tip. Make sure that you have your seatbelt on. I'm parked. That's why I'm taking my seatbelt off. But if you're off-roading, put it on. It's as simple as that. Tip number 4 is going to be get some serious lighting. Now, even if you're driving during the daytime, it's important to have good lighting, because how about if you get stuck in an off-roading situation? Or how about if you need the lighting? Or just turn the lights on so you can be seen by other off-roaders or other people that are around you, okay? Maybe you're off-roading and there's like a cyclist trail off to the side or something like that. You want to be seen. So basically just get a light bar. I would always recommend a light bar, to be honest with you, because they're really inexpensive and they last a long time and they're so easy to install and mount. Or you can get some big lamps to go on the front of your vehicle. But like I said, it's up to you. As long as you have good lighting, you're good to go with this tip. But like I said, I personally choose a light bar, but whatever works for you is completely fine with you. Tip number 5 for driving an off-road vehicle in an off-road situation is don't go out alone in case of an emergency. And this is what I said before about buckle up. You shouldn't be going out alone, okay? And if you don't go out alone, what's going to happen is this. You don't need to spot yourself. If you don't need to take off your seatbelt and look around, because the person that you're going out with can get out of the car and look around for you. They can spot for you and tell you what to do, where to go, how much to turn the wheel, and so forth. So just don't go out alone. And literally, if you go out alone, it's probably one of the worst things that you can do, because number 1, if you get stuck in an emergency, you're only one person. If you need to get the vehicle out of a jam, a second person or even a third person would help. Secondly, it's nice to go out with other people because you can share the experience with them as a whole. You can all share the experience together. Off-roading is fun, so it's just, good. And then thirdly, in case of an emergency, you have a second person. And fourthly, you have that second person or third person even to spot you when you're driving. It's as simple as that, okay? So that was tip number 5, don't go out alone. Tip number 6 is going to be watch out. Sorry, I apologize. I messed that one up. I'm going to tip number 7. Tip number 6 is going to be, don't do anything unsafe. And I know that it's tempting. You see like a big drop off, you're like, I could do that. Then all of a sudden, boom, you bottomed out. Your vehicle is leaking fluid everywhere. You're like 2 hours out into the forest. You don't know what's going on, and you're stuck, and then you're calling in the emergency services, and it's a disaster. And all you have to do is just say no to something that was unsafe. I know it's tempting because you see these things and you feel like you're Superman or Superwoman, but relax. Don't do anything unsafe, okay? If you do something unsafe, it's probably going to end up not in your favor. So just don't do it to begin with, okay? And now we're going on to tip number 7, which I almost said before, but now this is the real tip number 7, which is watch out for water crossings. So I know that if you're off-roading, you're probably going to encounter some water crossings. If they are really low and you know you can clear them, then go for it. But you want to be careful with them, because the last thing that you want is for your vehicle to be stuck in a water crossing, which is way worse and way harder to get out than if a vehicle is stuck outside of a water crossing. So make sure that you can cross it. Also, if you have a snorkel on your vehicle, if you got like some heavy duty off-roading vehicle, you got a snorkel, make sure that that snorkel is above the water line. You might want to get out of the vehicle, see how deep it is, maybe use a measuring stick, and then go in it. Make sure that the snorkel will be always above the water line. I cannot tell you the number of people that I know, even on a personal level, that have a snorkel on their off-roading vehicle. Okay, I've been off-roading a number of times. That's why I decided to make this video. I don't have an off-roading vehicle myself, but I've been in that situation many times. They got a snorkel on their vehicle. They think they're going to clear the water crossing, and all of a sudden, their snorkel is under the water, and that's it. That's it! Their engine is kaput. Their engine is trash at that point for the most part. You know, that it costs a lot to fix, and they fix it, but it costs a lot. It's an unnecessary expense that you didn't necessarily have to incur if you just measured first. So watch out for water crossings. Be extra safe with water crossings. And that's it! Those are 7 tips for driving an off-road vehicle in an off-road situation. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.